I did. Hope you did too.
I did as well. Thank you.
Good. We're moving over into July for the SAP date now. July 1st.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, Ms. Falk. How are you this afternoon?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Your Honor, did you and Miss Bridgewater receive the felony transfer order on Wilkins?
I received your email. Was there an order attached to it?
There is, Your Honor, for Your Honor's signature.
Let's see. Yes, I have it, Ms. Falk. I'll sign it and get it to Ms. Bridgewater.
Thank you, Your Honor. And we do have one other request, Antonio Delmar, if that can be held till the end of the calendar due to the circumstances and the facts of the case.
Good afternoon. Did you hear Ms. Falk's request?
Yes, Judge. I heard.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
No problem. And I heard you talk about Mr. Wilkins. Is he's going to be upgrade or?
Yes, Mr. Wilkins was accepted by the DA's office. It was a late acceptance, but it was accepted by the DA's office as a felony. We just need to have Mr. Wilkins, we just need to let Mr. Wilkins know his case will be heard tomorrow on the felony first appearance calendar.
He's right here, so he did hear you. So do you still need to see him tomorrow?
I'm not the one who has to notify him of that. It's actually Judge Morrow. So if
okay, I'll have him go first then.
Okay, if you want to bring him up first, that's fine too.
Let me make sure that his attorney is on with us. Who is representing?
Ms. McLeod.
Okay. Ms. McLeod, good afternoon. Are you with me? While we're waiting for Ms. McLeod, let me go ahead and just address everyone that's in courtroom two there. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We're providing you with the assistance of a public defender or a conflict attorney this afternoon if you do not have a private attorney. Ms. McLeod, are you with me? I want to make sure.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, and I don't know if you heard the conversation, Ms. McLeod. This is Mr. Wilkins that's before me. His case is being I've signed a transfer order. So his case will be seeing that, I believe, felony first appearance tomorrow.
I see.
Okay, so Mr. Wilkins, good luck to you, sir. You'll be addressed tomorrow at felony first appearance.
Your Honor, that was all I had, so
Okay, thank you, Ms. McLeod. Have a good rest of your day.
thank you.
Next is position 1, Ms. Aaron.
Good afternoon, Ms. Aaron. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003340A with simple battery. Good afternoon, Ms. Hardy. Is there a history?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. No history to report at this time.
Thank you. Ms. Tucker, good afternoon. I'm sorry. Good afternoon to you, Ms. Tucker. I'll be with you in just a moment. Yes, Ms. Falk.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened May 4th, 2025 at 6401 Old National Highway in South Fulton. Officer spoke with Cares Stevens, who stated that she and the defendant, her daughter, were in a verbal altercation. The defendant then got into Miss Stevens' face and threatened her and then walked out of the house. Miss Stevens then attempted to close the door behind the defendant, but the defendant kept opening the door and continuing to yell at Miss Stevens. And it ended when the defendant then pushed Miss Stevens, causing her to fall onto the living room floor. This is the first arrest for Miss Aaron. We did have an opportunity to speak with Miss Stevens, the mother of the defendant. She did state that they lived together at the incident location. She confirmed the events in the warrant. She also stated this is not the first time the defendant has been violent toward her or the first time the police have been called, but this is the first time an arrest has been made. She finally stated that she and the defendant have been living together since this incident and that everything has been good, and she does want to continue having contact. We are agreeable to a signature bond through pretrial services level 1, no further violent contact with Cares Stevens, and 2-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no firearms. That's all for the state. We would like to sound at this time for Ms. Cares Stevens, if she is here and would like to speak.
If Ms. Stevens is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Does not appear so. Any objections to any of the state's requests, Ms. Tucker?
We have no objections to the state's recommendations at this time.
Very good. As such, will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, 2-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Ms. Stevens, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Aaron. And courtroom 2, I see that we have a Spanish interpreter on the line. So I take it that we have someone that's going to be in need of her assistance. I just wanted to make you aware of that, and I'm not sure if we'll need to speak with the person prior to a hearing or not.
Yes, Judge, we'll get somebody courtroom 1 shortly.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Who do we have next?
Next we can go to position 3, Mr. Bailey.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bailey. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003356A with 3 counts of battery family violence and 2 counts of simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
No, Your Honor, this is first arrest.
Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. Just one moment. I just have to pull up that portion of my information. So this happened June 14th, 2025, which was about 2 days ago at 9 a.m. at 860 Peachtree Street Northeast in Atlanta. Officers spoke with multiple concerned citizens who happened to be outside, who stated, and I quote, "You need to go up to the 18th floor. There is a man beating his wife in unit 1817. Officers then went to the door and heard screaming and crying. They went inside and saw Miss Angelina Ledford, who was on the floor. She had a swollen, bloody lower lip, a black eye, and swollen knots to her forehead. The defendant was also observed sitting on the floor, leaning against the kitchen island. Officers saw blood on the defendant's arms, on the living room floor, and blood spatter on the walls. The defendant just kept saying, "I'm sorry, we've been drinking at Real Tacos," and just continued apologizing to the officer. He had no injuries. The victim was crying and saying, "Why would he do this to me?" And she stated she was flung across the room. There was no one else found in the house, and based on the injuries to the victim and the victim's blood all over the defendant was arrested. The officers did note in the police report, Your Honor, and I would be remiss for not pointing this out, that the victim's jaw was fractured. We are going to get records from Grady to confirm that, and if that is the case, we will be upgrading this case to an aggravated assault. This is the defendant's first arrest. However, there's no nice way to say this. This was a beating. This was a true beating of a person. The fact that multiple witnesses came out and were yelling for officers to help her, the fact that he is covered in her blood, this was just brutal. And so we are asking for a $10,000 surety bond, no further contact with Angelina Ledford, Family Violence Intervention Program, stay away from 860 Peachtree Street Northeast in Atlanta, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no firearms. If Miss Ledford is here and would like to speak, she may do so now. That's all for the state.
Miss Angelina Ledford is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. I will need for you to activate your camera and unmute yourself, and I'll need to swear you in. Does not appear so. Ms. Tucker, is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Bailey is a 42-year-old Atlanta native. He has completed his high school degree in some college. He was in the Marine Corps for 8 years. He's currently employed at Brainsway as a senior field clinical engineer, which he's done for 6 years. As it was reported, this is his first arrest, so he has no criminal history. We are requesting a signature bond for him. It is appropriate here as his first arrest. It was reported that the alleged victim had a fractured jaw, but he's spoken to her over the phone since he's been arrested. And she's even shocked that that's been reported. And I'm also not sure how she would be speaking to him over the phone with a broken jaw or fractured jaw. And they plan to turn in those medical documents to disprove that. With all that taken into consideration, we are requesting a signature bond on his behalf.
For each charge will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2, makes for a total of a $10,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. Alcohol drug evaluation and treatment if necessary. FVIP, no further contact with Ms. Ledford. Stay away from the Peachtree Street address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Bailey.
Next is position 12, Mr. Ivy.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ivy. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003351G with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was May 20th, 2025 out of city of Atlanta for theft by shoplifting. That did result in a misdemeanor conviction. They have a total of 2 arrest cycles. Nothing further to report.
Afternoon, Ms. Harrison.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This incident occurred on June 14th. Officers were patrolling the area of Princeton Lakes Parkway in reference to a previous incident. They spotted the defendant who matched the description from the call of the previous incident. The incident stated that there was a male who was waving an orange and white gun around. So officers responded. They did see him and he matched the description. They approached the defendant, found that he was in possession of an orange and white gun. It matched the description for the incident call at 3833 Princeton Lakes Parkway. And so they then placed the defendant under arrest. They called the witness from the original call, Miss Quinette Johnson, and asked her to do a show up to positively identify the defendant, and she was able to do that and confirm that this was the person from the previous call. And I just want to note, Your Honor, that the gun is actually a toy gun, an orange and white toy gun. In light of the defendant's previous criminal history, the state's recommendation is $1,000 surety bond. We're asking to stay away from the incident location, which is 3833 Princeton Lakes Parkway. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, but we'd like a social worker visit for a BHET evaluation as well, due to the defendant waving this toy gun around in public multiple occasions. And that'll be all for the state, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Tucker?
Yes, Mr. Ivy is 26 years of age. He's lived in the Atlanta area for 5 years. He has relatives that live in the Fayetteville area. He's completed his high school education. He says he's employed, he does lawn care on a part-time basis as needed through a temp company. Um, However, he does have financial difficulties, so he would not be able to afford a surety bond. Given his very limited criminal history, only 2 arrests at 26 years of age, we are requesting a signature bond on his behalf at this time.
$1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, a social worker visit to assess for BHET, stay away from the Princeton Lake Parkway address, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Ivy. And let's see, I believe that courtroom 1 is ready for Madam Interpreter to be placed into the breakout room. So if we can
The interpreter in courtroom 1, Judge.
yes, please, Ms. Grace. Good afternoon.
How are you, Judge? No problem.
Thank you.
Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, you were breaking up. What is that bond amount for Mr. Ivy?
It's a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Two, who do we have next?
Everybody I have is Mr. McLean's client, so I'm gonna call ACDC to get them online.
Okay, thank you. Any words from ACDC courtroom 2?
Yes, Judge. I just got off the phone with Ms. Milton, and she's in felony court right now. And
Okay. Well, I guess all we can do is wait on Mr. McLean.
yes, sir.
So next time, let's take the and if we only have one, take the interpreter cases. We'll work that in later, so that we're not holding up court here. All right, so I guess we can do nothing until Mr. McLean comes back. Thank you, then.
Yes, sir.
Judge Morrow,
Yes, Ms. Falk.
I do have one announcement if it would help at all.
Okay.
There
Thank you.
is a case that did not get on the calendar. His name is James Anderson, courtroom 2. I'm not sure if you have him over there.
He went back. He had medical problems, so I took him back. But he was.
Okay, so it was going to be a medical reset anyway?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Your Honor, just to let you know, James Anderson is a repeat offender. He actually has 16 convictions for theft by shoplifting. And so the state did request because it was a citation, the state requested from APD that they take out a felony warrant. They're in the process of doing that now. So
Okay.
he will not be coming. I thought we could just put that on the record and bring him up front, but since he's a medical reset, he does not need to be placed back on the calendar in the morning. He needs to go to felony first appearance in the morning. As soon as I get the bond, I'll send it to Miss Bridgewater.
Okay.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
not the bond, the warrant, excuse me.
Right. And Ms. Falk, I did receive something that you sent me since I have you here from Stephanie Kennedy regarding the probation violation warrant.
Yes, sir.
And
I normally don't intervene on those, but it was a request for misdemeanor mental health court. And when I took a look at the warrant, I saw that the warrant had not been told. It was a very old warrant from 2019. And I'm not sure how we could proceed on a probation violation with an untold 2019 warrant when her probation would have run out.
okay. So is there anything that you need for me to do?
Well, that I guess, Miss Bridgewater, if you're available. I'm not sure what the process is on that. If the court can do an order to have the probation warrant dismissed, if probation actually has to do that. But she's been in jail for 5 days, and that's why I brought it up, because quite frankly, I don't see how we can continue to hold her on this warrant. And I can't do a null pros on it since it's not an actual case.
Do we have anyone from probation on?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That would be a probation.
And I did CC probation officer Thomas on the email. I can see if I can hunt down Miss Bridgewater. Do you maybe have another probation officer I can reach out to? If you can send me an email in the chat.
I will try to find someone.
Okay.
Who is it from probation? Well, that's okay. I'll find out.
Yeah, it was a 2019 warrant, so I just assumed it probably wouldn't be someone still there.
Okay, I will reach out to Miss Mann, Miss George.
Okay.
Thank you.
That would be great. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
I don't want her sitting in jail if she doesn't have to be. So thank you, Ms. Falk.
Not a problem.
Okay, will do.
Judge, in the meantime, we can go to position 7. It's a waiver. I believe that's Ms. Tucker's client.
Okay, wonderful. And that's
And-
Dove.
Dove? Okay.
All right.
Got it.
And you say he's going to be a waiver. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. David Dove, charged in case 25 CR 003330G with theft by shoplifting. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was May 21st, 2025. out of Fulton for criminal damage to property and criminal trespass. I'm showing that case open under 25 PI 000891. There's 27 total arrest cycles. Felony conviction in 2017 for theft by receiving. 2015 robbery. It appears that they're on probation for criminal trespass in 2 cases. The first one is 23 CR 006750Y and 25 CR 001358B. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. He's on balance suspended probation on the criminal trespass with 25 CR 001358B with a stay away from Home Depot at 1032 Research Center in Atlanta, Georgia. That is important because the location of the theft by shoplifting is Home Depot at that same address, 1032 Research Center Drive, Atlanta. So in this case, on May 30th, 2025, the defendant went into that location, took a DeWalt construction earphones, and left all points of sale. Officers approached him, he said, and then told him they were going to place him under arrest. He said, F that, I'm not going to jail. Then they did a pat down search on him and then took him to the jail where they recovered the $22.98 pair of earphones. The defendant, as you've heard, had a case that was sentenced by Judge Law on May 27th of 2025, where he was ordered to stay away from that address. And within 2 months, he has gone back to that address and committed a theft by shoplifting there. For that reason, we are asking for a $1,000 surety bond, no further contact with that stay away from the Home Depot at 1032 Research Center. And we do also ask for no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. That's all for the state.
Mr. Dove is 34 years of age. He was born in Georgia. He's lived in the Atlanta area for the last 10 years. He has an 11th grade education, and he has maintained jobs in construction over the last 5 years. However, he has been having financial difficulties and has expressed that he would have a hard time paying $1,000 surety. We are requesting a signature bond on his behalf. He does not have any prior failure to appears, and we have no objection to the state's recommendation for a stay away from this location.
It's going to be a good bond. Stay away from all Home Depots. I want him to have a social worker visit to assess for BHET. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. I will see him back on July 1st for the SAP calendar if he doesn't get out, Ms. Tucker, and take another look at it at that time.
And Your Honor, I'm sorry, you cut out when you said the bond amount. What is the bond?
Okay, $1,000 good bond.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
I have a few announcements.
Okay, very good.
Position 4 and 20 are waivers as well. They are Mr. McLean's clients. Position 9 is a MH reset.
Fine, and that is Halbert, reset until tomorrow, 6/17.
Yes, Judge. And position 15 bond was paid.
Okay.
Judge,
Yeah.
reset.
Okay. And let's see, who do we have in courtroom 1?
Position 11.
Okay, thank you. And Madam Interpreter, if you'll raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm to interpret from Spanish to English, English to Spanish to the best of your ability?
I do.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Herrera Romero. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003357C with simple battery family violence.
Buenas tardes, señora Herrera Romero. Usted está en el caso 25CR003357C y la acusación es agresión violenta.
Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This is the first arrest.
El juez pide un historial y le indican que este es su primer arresto.
Good afternoon, Mr. Nixon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This incident occurred on November 9th, 2024.
Y ahora la fiscalía es el turno de ellos de hablar. Indican que este caso ocurrió el 9 de noviembre del 2024.
The defendant informed officers that the victim in this case, Jonathan, grabbed her by the sides of her arms, threw her onto the bed, and attempted to strangle her.
La acusada indicó que la víctima en este caso, el señor Jonathan, le agarró de los brazos, le tiró en la cama e intentó sofocarla.
The victim's last name, I'll spell it Villanueva. The defendant.
El apellido de la víctima del señor Jonathan es Villanueva.
The defendant stated she was able to grab him by the wrist and arms in order to stop him. By her grabbing Jonathan in order to defend herself, she left marks on his wrist.
Ella indicó que ella le agarró de las muñecas con las manos para poder defenderse y fue por eso que dejó marcas en las muñecas de él.
She also mentioned a July 4th, 2024 incident where the defendant stated that Jonathan slapped her.
También mencionó la acusada que hubo un incidente del 4 de julio del 2024 donde la víctima, este señor Jonathan, le bofeteó.
In this incident on November 9th, the defendant stated that Jonathan told her that he would take pictures of the marks and stated he would call the police and tell them she was crazy, send her to jail, and would get her deported and lose her kids.
En este episodio del 9 de noviembre, el señor Jonathan le dijo a la acusada que él iba a tomar fotos de las muñecas de él y que iba a llamar a la policía, decir que está loca, que la deportaran y que la dejaran sin sus hijos.
Further, from July 4th, 2024 to November 9th, 2024, the defendant states that Jonathan told her multiple times that he would kill her and slice her into pieces if she ever saw a guy message her.
También le dijo este señor Jonathan a la acusada que hubieron episodios entre julio 4 del 2024 y el 9 de noviembre que él le dijo a ella que él le mataría, le haría pedacitos si es que ella se mensajea con algún otro hombre.
Jonathan stated that he never has gotten physical with the defendant and stated he did not slap her and never threatened her.
Jonathan indicó que él nunca ha sido físico con la acusada, que no le abofeteó y que no le hizo nada.
He states that the defendant got angry and scratched him.
Él dice que la acusada se enojó y por eso le aruñó.
With this being the defendant's first arrest, and per the facts in this case, the state is going to recommend a signature bond through the jail.
Ya que este es el primer arresto de la acusada y dados los detalles del caso, la fiscalía va a pedir una fianza bajo su firma únicamente por medio de la cárcel.
As well as no further violent contact with the victim.
También una orden judicial de no contacto violento con la víctima.
And the state would ask that the court sound for the victim when appropriate.
Y también la fiscalía pide que veamos si la víctima está aquí en el Zoom cuando sea apropiado. Your Honor, may I sound?
Yes, please.
El señor Jonathan Villanueva El señor Jonathan Villanueva, si es que se encuentra en la llamada de Zoom, por favor, abra su cámara y su micrófono en este momento.
Does not appear so. Mr. McLean?
No objection, Your Honor.
Y su abogado no tiene ninguna objeción a lo que la fiscalía está recomendando.
As such, will be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. No further violent contact with the alleged victim. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Así, la orden judicial es que puede salir bajo fianza con un bono de $2,000, pero que no tiene que pagar, sino que nada más con su firma, hasta que tenga que regresar a la corte. Parte de la orden judicial es ningún contacto violento con la víctima y no puede usar drogas, beber bebidas alcohólicas o poseer ningún arma mientras está bajo fianza.
Good luck to you, sir.
Buenas
Thank
noches, señor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Could we have the interpreter, myself and her stay together for just a moment after the court leaves the breakout so that I can answer any questions she may have?
I'm happy to do that, Mr. McLean, but you're the only attorney that we have that has cases in courtroom 2, so I'm going to need you there as quickly as possible, okay?
Right.
Thank you. Do you want to ask him if he has any questions? Madam Interpreter, would you ask him if he has any questions? If he does, I'll put you into a breakout room.
So, Your Honor, just for clarity, who you have in front in the courtroom, one is a woman, and it is Mrs. Herrera. So,
Oh, excuse me.
yeah, no problem. Señor Herrera, ¿tiene usted alguna pregunta para su abogado? No, no questions. I asked her if she has any questions for her attorney. She said no questions.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Gracias.
Thank
Eso es
you.
todo, señora.
Thank you.
We appreciate your assistance this afternoon, Madam Interpreter.
Thank you, Your Honor. If that is all my business, may I be excused?
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. You have a good afternoon.
Do the same. Who do we have next?
Motion 23.
Good afternoon, Mr. Williams. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003350G with 2 counts of battery family violence and simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
There's 9 arrest cycles out of Georgia. Felony conviction in 2001 for bank robbery. There appears to be an open case for aggravated assault, battery, and obstruction. That case number is 25 PI 000308. Their last arrest was May 27, 2025 out of Atlanta for a probation violation. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Mr. Nixon?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred on June 14th, 2025. Officer was dispatched to 1655 Westlake Court in reference to a physical dispute. Upon arrival with other units that were on scene, a defendant was given verbal commands to come outside of the apartment with his hands up and was quickly detained. The officer spoke with the victim, Mr. Carlos Ragland, who stated he was in a verbal dispute with his cousin, the defendant. Now, Mr. Ragland advised that a verbal dispute became physical, advising the defendant punched him with a closed fist, causing his bottom lip to be busted and bleeding, as well as visible bite marks on his left shoulder. Both parties live at this location. Officers did speak with the victim, and the victim and defendant are cousins. They lived together at the incident location, and the victim stated that the defendant was arguing with him, and then he hit him and bit him. The victim stated that this is not the first time the defendant has been violent towards him, but the first time he has called the police. The victim stated he is not in fear of the defendant and is okay with no violent contact. The victim stated he is okay with the defendant returning to the residence, and I believe the victim will be on Zoom. The thing to point out regarding the criminal history here, the 2025 open double ag assault case, cruelty to children, obstruction, and battery. The defendant received a $20,100 good bond. Though it was a different victim, this was ordered by Judge Hughes. The state, per the facts in this case and the criminal history that's been reported here, the state's going to recommend a $3,000 surety for the battery family violence, another $3,000 surety for the second count of the battery family violence, and a $2,000 surety for the simple battery family violence, as well as no further contact with Carlos Ragland to promote a cooling off period. And the state would ask that the court sign for the victim when appropriate.
Mr. Ragland, I see you on the line. If you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity. You certainly do not have to, but if you would like to address the court, I'll need for you to unmute yourself, activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in. Doesn't appear so. Mr. McLean? Courtroom 2 is muted.
Thank you. Your Honor, Mr. Williams does have this address on West Lake, 30314. He's local. I have a sister's number. I understand the alleged victim is the cousin. He has a 12th grade education. He has worked at Cisco. He has also worked at, let's see, what's that kind of, what was it? What was it?
That's what I'm doing for my disability.
Right. He's also applied for disability and has the law firm. I have not yet contacted that law firm to see about his disability claim, but it appears to be a serious one, and that accounts for his activities during the day. He has got several vertebrae that are injured severely. Your Honor, we would ask for a signature bond if possible, and if that's not possible, we would ask for a very low surety bond, something in the area of 1,000 to 2,000 surety total. But we would ask primarily, Your Honor, for a signature bond.
For each charge will be a $1,000 good bond, makes for a total of a $3,000 good bond. No further contact with the alleged victim. Stay away from the incident location. He can go back to that location on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir.
Next is position 13, Mr. Jackson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jackson. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003349C with driving without a valid license, failure to yield right of way, giving false information to law enforcement. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was April 9th, 2016 out of Dooley County for driving while license suspended or revoked. They have 12 total arrest cycles. There's 3 misdemeanor convictions outside of the last 10-year period. Nothing further to report.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. On Saturday, June 14th, officers observed a white box truck turn left in front of a tan Toyota Corolla. The truck turned as it was traveling on Washington Road, so it made a left turn into the Texaco at 4221. Washington Road in East Point, Georgia. At that point, officers initiated a traffic stop due to the failure of the driver to yield when making the turn. Officers encountered the driver of the 2002 Ford van and informed him he was pulled over for turning left in front of the Toyota Corolla. Officers asked the driver for his driver's license. He reached in his pocket and stated he did not have it with him. They asked him for his name, date of birth, and home address. He advised officers that his name was Enrico Graham with a date of birth of March 26, 1975. East Point Communications operators were not able to identify a person on file with that name. So officers walked back to the vehicle and asked the defendant to step out of the vehicle and handed him a notepad and a pen. And he wrote down the name Tony Jackson with his address at 2145 O'Hara Place. And officers then placed the defendant under arrest due to his failure to properly identify himself to officers when asked. Officers conducted a search incident to arrest and subsequently, took the defendant in. Due to Mr. Jackson's previous criminal history and his second time being placed under arrest for driving while his license was suspended, the state's recommendation here, well, driving without a license, I'm sorry, is a $3,000 surety bond, which is $1,000 on each count. And we're asking for no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no driving at all without a valid license. And that'll be all for the state.
Mr. McLean, I'm going to give your client a signature bond through the jail. If there's no objection from you, for each charge will be a $500 signature bond through the jail. Makes for a total of a $1,500 signature bond through the jail. No driving without a valid license. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Does that
No,
suit you?
It does suit, Your Honor. Thank you.
Good luck to you, Mr. Jackson.
No.
Next is position 14, Mr. Coons.
Good afternoon, Mr. Kuntz. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003347D with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was October 1st, 2013, out of Roswell for simple battery. That case was null pros. They have 3 arrest cycles. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Ms. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. On June 15th, officers were flagged down by civilians who stated that a female was struck in the face at the Mexican Lindo restaurant. When they arrived, they made contact with the victim, identified as Ms. Megan Eastlick, who stated that her and the defendant were arguing for a few days, and they decided to go out to eat in an attempt to resolve their issues and calm their prior disagreement. Ms. Eslick stated that she got out of the chair to call her brother to wish him a happy Father's Day. And when she returned back to the table, the defendant accused her of cheating. And after he accused her of cheating, he became more and more upset and then struck her in the face. Officers did also see video surveillance at the restaurant corroborating witnesses' statement and Ms. Eslick's statement. And Ms. Eslick did advise officers on the scene that her and the defendant are in a relationship and currently live together. We did speak to the victim today. She did state that her and the defendant are in a relationship. They do currently reside together in Roswell, Georgia. They share no children. She confirmed the events in the warrant and stated that this is not the first time the defendant has been violent towards her, but it's the first time that the police have been involved and an arrest has been made. She does believe that the defendant needs anger management classes, but she did state that she's not in fear of the defendant. The state's recommendation in light of the defendant's criminal history, and we did want to note that there's a 2013 simple battery arrest and conviction for the defendant. The state's recommendation is a $1,500 surety bond. We'd ask for no contact with the victim, stay away from the incident location, which is Mexico Lindo Restaurant, and I'll give you address to that in just a second. And an anger awareness course, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. And I believe that incident, the incident location is 6411 Tara Boulevard. And we would like to sound for Ms. Eslick at this time. That'll be all for the state, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Eslick is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Yes, ma'am. If you'll raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court, ma'am?
Your Honor, I do not wish to have the no contact order. We live together. We've been in a relationship for about a year and a half. He has been under a lot of stress. And maybe maybe just going for anger management, would be sufficient. I mean, I really don't want to be away from him. I do love this man. And yes, we've had our ups and downs in the past, but, I'm not asking for a no contact order.
Okay, thank you for being here this afternoon, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Mr. McLean?
Your 58-year-old Mr. Coombs has 2 master's degrees, an MBA, and an exercise science degree from a local large university. He's also a fitness coach. We would ask the court to consider, rather than the surety bond, realizing that it was spoken of with the 2013 case. Nonetheless, we would ask the court to consider a signature bond. Thank you.
$2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with the alleged victim, stay away from the Mexican restaurant, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you both.
Thank you, Judge. Good luck.
You're welcome.
Next is position 16, Mr. Robinson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Robinson. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003345E with 2 counts of simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was May the 7th, 2021 out of DeKalb for simple battery, terroristic threats and acts, and criminal use of article with altered ID mark. They have 4 misdemeanor convictions outside the last 10-year period. There is a 2024 felony conviction for criminal use of article with altered ID mark. 12 total cycles. Nothing further to report.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. On Sunday, June 15th, officers responded to a domestic violence call at 874 McWilliams Road Southeast. When they arrived, they met with the victim, Ms. Ashley Varner, who indicated that the father of her children, which is the defendant, had been drinking alcohol and became really aggressive and was exhibiting aggressive behavior. She informed officers that when he drank, he tended to misbehave and that they had prior incidents due to this behavior. This particular day, Ms. Varner had allowed Mr. Robinson to enter their home, and then she became distressed when he began to drink in the household, even though she had not authorized him to do so. The situation escalated when the defendant became angry and he pushed Ms. Varner against the door, creating a loud disturbance. This disturbance was so loud it awakened other people in the house, and their son, Mr. KV, was upset by his father's actions towards his mother, so he retaliated by taking a hammer, going outside, and smashing the back windshield of his dad's car. When this happened, Ms. Varner stepped in to take her son away from the conflict, and the defendant became more upset about his broken windows and ultimately engaged in a confrontation with his daughter, NR. He pushed her against a wall where family pictures were displayed. Ms. Varner then again attempted to de-escalate the situation by soothing both of her children. And at that time, the defendant was outside apparently looking at the damage on his vehicle, and he entered Ms. Varner's vehicle and accessed her handgun. And he didn't aim the firearm, but he held it at a very low position next to his body. When Ms. Varner noticed him holding the firearm, she went to take it from him. He ultimately gave her the firearm, and officers intervened at that time and de-escalated the situation. While on the scene, Mr. Robinson, the defendant, informed officers that his desire was to discipline his children for misbehaving, and he didn't feel like he should be getting arrested for domestic violence due to his son vandalizing his car windows. We did speak to the victim, Ms. Varner. She stated that they are in a relationship. They live together at the incident location and have 3 children together. She confirmed the events in the warrant and stated that the defendant has a drinking problem. She did confirm that they did have a case in DeKalb County in 2021, and that was the case mentioned by pretrial, where the defendant actually choked their daughter and fought everyone else in the home. And I believe the charges for that case were simple battery, 2 cruelty to children in the first degree, and a terroristic threat, along with the altered weapons. The victim did state that she believes that the defendant has a drinking problem and needs help with drinking. She's not in fear of him, and she's okay with having contact. Your Honor, the state's concern here is solely, most importantly, for the children's safety in this situation. This is not the first incident where the defendant has been violent in the home and actually been violent towards the children. And as the victim stated, there may be a substance abuse issue, but the state has a very, very dire concern for the children's safety here and their well-being. That being said, the previous case that was mentioned, the defendant was ordered to have no violent contact with Ms. Varner or any of the 2 children. And as you can see in this case, he subsequently has had violent contact. The state's recommendation is a $5,000 cash bond. We're asking for no contact at all with any of the victims. Ms. Ashley Varner or the 2 children, stay away from the incident location, alcohol, drug evaluation, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol. We'd also like to point out that the defendant, being that he was given first offender probation, he's not supposed to have any firearms. And as you can see from the narrative, the defendant went into the victim's car, possessed the firearm, and was holding it in his possession for a length of time before relinquishing it. So we did send this case up for felony transfer, but we have not received a response yet at this time. So we did want to make the court aware of all of these facts while you consider your bond recommendation, and we will sound from Ms. Varner at this time, and that'll be all for the state, Your Honor.
If Ms. Ashley Varner is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Does not appear so. Mr. McLean?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Robinson is approximately 44 years old. I might be off by 1 year at the most. 4 children are in the home, 3 theirs. He's got a 12th grade education, Your Honor. He's worked for an apartment complex doing maintenance work. We would ask the court, under the circumstances that we've heard about, that the court consider a signature bond, and if not a signature bond, then a 1,000 surety. Thank you.
For each charge will be $1,000 good bond, makes for a total of a $2,000 good bond, an ADET. At this time, no further contact with Ms. Varner or the minor children. Stay away from the incident location. He can go back to that location on 1 occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Robinson.
Next is position 21.
The main thing is the conditions. Whitaker.
Good afternoon, Mr. Whitaker. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003342Y with 2 counts of battery, 1 count of simple battery. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was November 14th, 2024 out of Lowndes County for a probation violation. They have 4 arrest cycles out of Georgia. Felony conviction in 2023 for aggravated assault against law enforcement. 2017 false imprisonment and robbery. Misdemeanor conviction in 2017 for affray and theft by taking. They have 2 open cases. The first one is 24 SC 004602, and that's for aggravated assault, possession of a firearm. And then 24 SC 005740, terroristic threats and acts, simple battery, and possession of a firearm. Nothing further to report.
Mr. Nixon?
Yes, Your Honor. This occurred on June 14th, 2025 at approximately 8:30 p.m. while working at Grady Memorial Hospital. Officer responded to the emergency room at Grady Hospital, located at 80 Jesse Hill Junior Drive in Atlanta. And upon arrival to the emergency room, Nurse Benjamin Forte was seen by an officer, and on his face, it was visibly red and inflamed. And the victim advised that while attempting to give the defendant an IV, he jumped out of his bed and began hitting him in the face with multiple closed fist punches. Miss Kenesha Wilson witnessed the attack in addition to the security footage that was available. We spoke with the victim. The victim is a nurse at Grady. The victim confirmed the events in the warrant and stated that the defendant was tense and balling up his fists as he was trying to put the IV in. The victim stated that the defendant was saying male nurses are always aggressive, and also stated, "You shouldn't mess with people like me." Victim stated that someone said something to the defendant in the hallway, and then the defendant jumped up and began punching him. Victim stated that he sustained several abrasions on his face, and states that he does not know why the defendant attacked him. Victim stated he does not want contact with the defendant. I will note with regard to the criminal history, the 2023 ag assault of a law enforcement officer. He was on probation for 2 years and 4 months, and that was in 2023. I think that would have been we're just a month shy. So he's still on probation for that. I note it 2023 FTA as well, per the facts in this case and the criminal history. The state is going to recommend $1,000 surety for the simple battery, $1,500 surety for the battery, and another $1,500 surety for the additional battery. The state is going to recommend no further contact with Benjamin Forte. And that last name is spelled Forte. Stay away from Grady. Unless receiving medical treatment, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond, and the state would ask the court sound for the victim when appropriate.
If Mr. Forte is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Does not appear so. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, Mr. Whitaker has worked as a private security guard. He has some college after high school, studying public health and public safety from IT Tech. And, under these circumstances and given the arrest history, we would ask the court to consider a signature bond. But if that is not possible, we'd like to propose a $500 bond on to 3 maximum. But we would ask the court to consider a signature bond if that is possible.
Okay, for each of the batteries will be $1,000 good bond. For the simple battery, a $500 good bond. Makes for a total of a $2,500 good bond. No further contact with Mr. Forte. Stay away from Grady unless he's receiving medical treatment. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Whitaker. Welcome.
Next is position 24, Mr. Wright.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wright. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003353F with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
No, Your Honor, this is showing first arrest.
Mr. Nixon?
Yes, Your Honor. Looks like this occurred on June 15th, 2025. Upon arrival, the officer made contact with the witness, Mr. Wilborn, who pointed out the defendant as the individual trespassing. Mr. Wilborn advised that the defendant had previously been warned about entering people's properties without permission. He stated that the defendant was once again found on the property of the victim, John, last name Tehan, located at 649 Rosalia Street Southeast. Mr. Wilborn showed the officer video surveillance footage of the defendant entering the property despite visible no trespassing signs posted on the front gate. As well, the officer then spoke with Mr. Hen who confirmed that the defendant repeatedly enters his property without permission and was previously trespassed from this location on May 16th, 2025. Per the criminal history and the facts in this case, Your Honor, the state's going to recommend an SOB through pretrial, social worker visit, stay away from 649 Rosalia Street, Southeast Atlanta, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
Mr. McLean,
No objection, Your Honor.
does Mr. Wright need assistance with housing?
We're gonna have a social worker speak with him before he leaves, but I believe he has a Atlanta address. So
Okay.
probably that won't be an issue.
All right, well, if it is, I want to make sure that we get him some help if he needs it. He does not have a criminal history, so
Right.
and I was concerned if sending him through pretrial would be a problem.
Right.
If he doesn't have, and given that this is his first arrest and it's criminal trespass, it's going to be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from that incident location. A social worker visit to assist with housing if necessary. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Mr. Wright, I'm going to let you out, but if you can't go back to that location, if you do, they're just going to arrest you again, and I'm not going to be able to give you a signature bond next time if that happens. So don't go back there, okay?
Your Honor, I'm hearing I may be incorrect on that housing. We will certainly give him advice on the shelters around here.
Okay, please do. Court would appreciate it. Thank you. Who do we have next?
You can go to ACDC.
Okay, good afternoon, Officer Milton.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. The ladies have to hear their rights, and we can start with position 2 after that.
Good afternoon, ladies. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state expedited accusation calendar that we are conducting by video. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We're providing you with the assistance of a public defender this afternoon if you choose to utilize their service. You say we have position number 2 first?
Yes, Your Honor, Ms. Baggett.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Baggett. You've been charged in case 25 CR 003341E with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was July 7th, 2023, out of Columbia County for a DUI that did result in a misdemeanor conviction. They have 3 total arrest cycles. Nothing further to report.
Spock?
Yes, Your Honor. This happened on June 9th, 2025 at 10:36 p.m. at 2210 Sullivan Road, apartment 16. The defendant answered the door and admitted to the police that she had pushed Antonia Wilson, who is her sister. She claimed she had done so because Miss Wilson had come near her talking stuff, as she put it, and putting her hands in her face. Miss Wilson advised that she was trying to discuss a previous altercation from the Friday prior where the defendant had become physical with her before. And Miss Wilson stated while she was trying to talk to the defendant struck her and she swung back in self-defense. The convictions that we have are as stated by pretrial services. It appears to be alcohol related on both. We will state the victim and the defendant are sisters. We had an opportunity to speak with Miss Wilson, and she stated that she and the defendant got into an argument. The defendant punched her in the face, and then they began to fight. She said this has been an ongoing issue. She does not want contact, wants the defendant to stay away from the residence until she is able to leave on Saturday, June 21st. She is here on the Zoom, and we would like to sound for her. We are recommending a signature bond through pretrial services, 2 days of anger awareness, stay away from the residence until Sunday, June 22nd. We are asking that there be a one-time law enforcement escort just to ensure that Miss Wilson is no longer at the residence, no further contact with Antonia Wilson, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no firearms. We would at this time like to sound for Miss Antonia Wilson. That's all for the state.
Ms. Wilson, if you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I'll need for you to activate your camera and unmute yourself, and I'll have to swear you in. I see Ms. Antonia there. If she does not wish to address the court, it does not appear. Yes, Ms. Tucker.
Yes, we do not have any objections to the state's recommendation for a signature bond. Our only objection would be to the stay away. Although it's for a limited time period, Ms. Baggett is the sole leaseholder at the residence. It is her primary residence, and we would be asking that she be allowed to return home once she is released from jail today.
It will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Wilson. While Ms. Wilson is at the Sullivan Road address, Ms. Baggett certainly cannot be there. But when Ms. Wilson leaves that address, Ms. Baggett can return. So I'm going to give her a one-time escort after June 22nd to go back to that residence with law enforcement. If Ms. Wilson is not there, Ms. Baggett may return. If she is there, then she'll have to find somewhere else to go. In the meantime, Ms. Tucker, if she needs another one-time escort prior to that time to retrieve any belongings, I will allow her to do that as well. Okay, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Baggett.
Next is position number 5, Ms. Chichetti.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chetty. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003359B with theft by shoplifting. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was November 10th, 2024, out of Fulton County for theft by shoplifting. That case is open under 24 PI 008327. They have a total of 2 arrest cycles in Georgia. Nothing further.
Mr. Nixon?
Yes, Your Honor. This occurred between April 23rd, 2025 and May 6th, 2025. This is actually the Sephora located at 3130 Avalon Boulevard. And on this particular date, the May 14th, Asset Protection Manager Christopher Langford reported that the defendant was shoplifting. Langford recognized her from previous thefts from April 23rd, May 1st, and May 6th after he gathered the details of the items stolen and their values. He reported shoplifting on May 15th, 2025. And over the course of the visits, the defendant was still concealing 12 items and exiting the store, and the items were valued at $481 in total. With regard to the 2024 theft by shoplifting, it was a UJR through the jail and a stay away from 7000 North Point Circle Alpharetta location. And that was ordered by Judge Locke. Per the criminal history, the prior theft by shoplifting in 2024 and the sheer amount of items that were stolen from Sephora, the state's going to recommend a $1,500 surety for the theft by shoplifting, a stay away from Sephora located at 3130 Avalon Boulevard. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond, as well as an anti-theft course.
Ms. Tucker?
Yes, Ms. Chichetti is a 54-year-old Atlanta resident. She's resided here for over 40 years. She is currently not employed. She is a stay-at-home mom. She is the primary caregiver for her 2 children. As has been reported, she has a very limited criminal history with only 2 arrests at 54 years of age, no prior failure to appears. So we are requesting a signature bond on her behalf. especially considering she's not currently employed, and she has expressed that she wouldn't be able to afford bond if she were required to pay a surety bond today.
Be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2, an anti-theft course. Stay away from all Sephoras. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Next is position 8, Miss Evans. Hello.
Good afternoon, Miss Evans. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003354J with theft by shoplifting. Is there a history, Ms. Harrison? Ms. Hardy, excuse me, I'm sorry.
The last arrest was April 13th, 2025 out of Fulton County for criminal damage to property. In that case was DWAP. They have a total of 12 arrests out of Georgia and Virginia. There's a misdemeanor conviction in 2024 for theft by shoplifting. There's also an open theft by shoplifting under 25 SC 003141. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Ms. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. On June 8th, 2025, officers met with management loss prevention at the Target store located at 2539 Piedmont Road, Northeast, due to a shoplifter call. Officers were informed that the defendant, Ms. Evans, entered the store and then concealed several store items on her person and was observed on surveillance camera walking past all points of sale with the items. She was detained by loss prevention until Atlanta police responded at the scene, and the total value of the items was listed at $48, and they were recovered without incident. The state's recommendation, in light of the defendant's open case and her prior criminal history, is a $1,000 surety bond, a stay away from all Target stores, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, and that'll be all for the state, Your Honor.
Yes, Ms. Tucker.
Miss Evans is a 23-year-old Atlanta native. She has an 11th grade education. She is currently not employed. Although she does have some criminal history, I do not see any prior failure to appears. She has ties to the community, and we have no reason to believe that she wouldn't appear to court. So we are requesting the court grant her a signature bond. If not the lowest bond that the court will allow in this matter.
Okay, it will be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2, an anti-theft class, stay away from all Targets, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Evans.
Thank you. Next is position 10, Henderson.
Good afternoon, Ms. Henderson. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003355G with reckless conduct and 2 counts of willful obstruction of law enforcement officers. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was August 12th, 2024 out of Fulton County for simple battery, and that did result in a misdemeanor conviction. They have 18 total arrest cycles. Misdemeanor conviction in 2016 for possession of marijuana less than an ounce. 2022, simple battery, family violence. And there appears to be an open probation case for simple battery, and that number is 24 CR 005659G. 18 total arrest cycles, nothing further.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. On June 14th, while on Peachtree Street, officers were approached by an unidentified woman, later identified as Miss Henderson, screaming unintelligibly. They attempted to separate Miss Henderson from what seemed to be a verbal argument, and she reached in her bag and pulled out a 9mm handgun. This was at a MARTA location, Your Honor, so it was MARTA officers. Officers attempted to get the firearm from the defendant's possession by taking it from her, and she snatched the firearm away, causing it to fall to the ground. And she continued to reach for the weapon while in a struggle with officers. And then they were finally able to tuck her arms behind her back and detain her. After the weapons were secured, she was placed under arrest and escorted to MARTA Central Precinct for processing. The state's recommendation in this case, due to the serious nature of the defendant's crime in brandishing a firearm in a public place like a MARTA station, the state's recommendation is a $10,000 surety bond. We're asking for a stay away from the MARTA location and all MARTA properties, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol, and that the defendant surrender all firearms to the Fulton County Sheriff's Office. And that'll be all for the state, Your Honor.
Tucker?
Yes, Ms. Henderson is 43 years of age. She's an Atlanta native. She's currently homeless. She actually has an appointment on Wednesday at Gateway to attempt to secure some housing, which she's been trying to do for a while. So it's actually very important that she get out of jail as soon as possible so she can make that appointment. She has an 11th grade education and she has 4 children. The date of the incident, as it was stated by the state, she did approach police. She approached the MARTA police asking for help because she was being assaulted by a man who pulled her by her hair and threw her into the street. And they told her they couldn't help her, that she had to call the Atlanta Police Department. So that was her screaming unintelligibly. She was asking for help because she was being attacked. She did, so she did approach them. We are asking for a signature bond on her behalf. She does have a FTA, but it is older. Due to her homelessness and her being unemployed, she wouldn't be able to make a $10,000 surety bond. So we were requesting a signature bond or the lowest bond that the court would allow in this situation.
Okay, for the reckless, it'll be $1,000 good bond. For each of the other charges, a $500 good bond, makes for a total of a $2,000 good bond. I want her to have a social worker visit to assist with housing or BHET if necessary. Abide by, any MARTA suspensions, active MARTA suspensions. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond, and to surrender all firearms while on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Henderson.
Next is position 18, Ms. Sims.
Good afternoon, Ms. Sims. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003360B with battery family violence and simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was July 4th, 2015, out of Las Vegas, Nevada, for it says provoked breach of peace. They have 2 total arrest cycles, arrests out of Michigan and Nevada. Nothing further to report.
Yes, Mr. Nixon.
Yes, Your Honor. This occurred on June 15th, 2025. Officer was dispatched to 13228 Orangefield Cove, and that's in Milton. Upon arrival, the officer made contact with the reporting party and victim, identified as Michaela Medley. Michaela advised on this date, her and her mother, the defendant, had gotten into a verbal argument regarding the defendant's parenting. Michaela advised during the argument, she said something that upset the defendant and advised the defendant grabbed her by the shirt and pushed her. Michaela advised and reported due to being pushed, she fell and hit her face on the wall. Officer observed Michaela's face and observed dried blood around her nose. The officer then spoke with the defendant, and she stated her and the victim had drinks and returned home. Stated she and Michaela got into a verbal argument and stated she grabbed Michaela by the shirt, stating, "I'm your mother, show me some respect." And the defendant admitted she let Michaela go by pushing her away. Michaela fell, hitting her face on the wall. Our office has spoken with the victim. The victim is the daughter of the defendant. They live together at the incident location. The victim confirmed the events in the warrant and stated that nothing like this has ever happened before. She stated that she will be leaving the residence and plans to go to Michigan. The victim stated she was okay with no violent contact, and I believe the victim will be on Zoom. Per the facts in this case, and seeing that there's no arrest history here out of Georgia, the state is going to ask and recommend SOB through pretrial, no further violent contact with the victim, Michaela Medley, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. And the state would also ask the court to sound for the victim when appropriate.
Ms. Medley, I see you on the line. If you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Need for you to raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, or nothing but the truth?
I swear.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court, ma'am?
I just wanted to say this is not a reoccurring issue. We don't get into heated disagreements like this all the time. This is a one-time situation, and again, alcohol was involved. As of right now, I am leaving to Michigan. I have my flight booked and everything, but I have somewhere to stay in the meantime, and I don't fear her. I don't have any issues with her, so I don't feel like there needs to be a no contact or anything. Yeah, that's all I had to say.
Thank you. I appreciate you being here this afternoon, ma'am. Any objections to any of the state's requests, Mr. McLean?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, as such, for the simple battery, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the battery, a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further violent contact with Ms. Medley, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Sims.
Next is position 19, Ms. Smith. The judge is ready for you. Have a seat. All right, sit down.
Good afternoon, Ms. Smith. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003361G with loitering and prowling and possession and use of drug-related objects. Is there a history?
Yes, Your Honor. The last arrest was April 11, 2025 out of Fulton for an FTA. They have 42 total arrest cycles. There are 3 felony convictions outside the last 10-year period. There's 8 misdemeanors outside the last 10-year period. There is a 2016 criminal trespass misdemeanor conviction. 2 open probation cases for criminal trespass. The first one is 25 CR 001934G and 24 CR 006649F. Nothing further to report.
Mr. Nixon?
Yes, Your Honor. This occurred on June 9th, 2025. The defendant was found loitering in 1263 Gus Thornhill Jr. Drive. That's in East Point, which is it's actually a vacant property. The officer observed multiple suspicious people loitering. This area is a high drug area. The officers conducted a pat down, stated that the defendant stated that she didn't have anything on her, but officers found a glass pipe on her. Your Honor, you've heard the history, and I believe the 2024 and 2025 criminal trespasses were resolved in negotiated pleas, on a time served sentence. Per the criminal history, the 2025 FTA, the state is going to recommend $1,000 surety for the loiter, prowl, another $1,000 surety for the possession and use of drug-related objects. A stay away from 1263 Gus Thornhill Jr. Drive, East Point. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. Alcohol, drug evaluation treatment. And state wants to inquire about possibly a social worker for any housing needs. Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. McLean?
Thank you. Your Honor, a social worker visit is planned. We have concerns about her housing situation. She is homeless currently, and we did have a discussion about how to correct that. We'd ask the court to consider a signature bond, but if the signature bond be inappropriate, Your Honor, we would ask for $1,000 surety bond.
Okay, for each charge will be a $500 good bond, makes for a total of $1,000 good bond. Social worker visit to assist with housing, stay away from the incident location, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Smith.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we be excused, please?
Yes, thank you. We'll see you next time.
See you tomorrow.
Okay. Who else do we have in courtroom 2 there, Mr. McLean?
We have anybody left?
Position 6.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Delmar. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003348H with using telephone communications for obscene, threatening, or harassing purposes. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
Yes, the last arrest was May 29th, 2025 out of Gwinnett for a probation violation. They have 10 total arrest cycles in Georgia. Misdemeanor conviction in 2021 for theft by taking and simple battery family violence. There are felony convictions. There is a 2006 felony conviction for aggravated assault and a CWAC charge where they got first offender treatment on that. It doesn't list the seal date. There's a 2022 failure to register. Nothing further to report.
Ms. Falk?
Your Honor, I'm also showing a 2008 conviction for sodomy that was, the defendant has been incarcerated on and off from March, well, he was continuously incarcerated from March 2009 to October 2019, so 10 years. And then from May 2022 to June 2023, so a little over a year. And then from June 2024 to May 2025. The reason I point that out is because oftentimes the defense says there's a large gap in the defendant's criminal history where he was not arrested. I just wanted to explain that the reason for that is because he was in prison for 10 years. This incident happened March 27th of 2024. Officers spoke with Sarah Freeman, who was an intern at a counseling center. She stated that she was conducting a virtual counseling session with the defendant when he exposed himself and began fondling himself throughout the 30-minute session. Ms. Freeman addressed it with the defendant, confronted him about it. He laughed and denied it. She took a photo when he began fondling himself so that she would have evidence of what he was doing. This was about 15 minutes into the session. And while the officer was researching this defendant, he found a previous report from 2021 out of Cobb County where a counselor providing counseling services reported the defendant doing the same thing during their Zoom counseling session. However, charges were not filed in Cobb because the offense did not fit public indecency. Luckily, due to an updating of the law, the new charge of harassing communications and conduct during a phone conversation was included, and the officer was able to take out that warrant now for this behavior that the defendant has seemed to have done unabated since 2021. We are asking for a $10,000 surety bond on this based on his failure to register, his sodomy conviction, his aggravated battery, burglary conviction, his continuous incarceration, and the fact that he was accused of doing this in Cobb County in 2021. We feel that all around he is a failure on all of the Ayala factors. We are asking for no further contact with Sarah Freeman, stay away from 8046 Roswell Road in Sandy Springs, and an SDET. I will also point out that Ms. Freeman did identify the defendant in a photo lineup when it was presented to her. So there has been a positive identification made here that it is the same individual that she saw on the Zoom. That's all for this state. And we would like to sound from Ms. Sarah Freeman if she is here today.
If Ms. Freeman is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Does not appear so. Ms. Tucker, is this your case?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Okay.
Mr. Delmar is 43 years of age. He's maintained the same residence at 75 Livingston Lane for the last 10 years or so. He has maintained employment at Mouser for roughly a year, a little under a year. We have, I saw no, failure to appears in his history. We are requesting a signature bond, or if not appropriate, $1,000 surety bond on his behalf. We have no objections to no contact with the victim or any further recommendations from the state.
And Your Honor, if I just may inquire, I believe I heard Ms. Tucker say he's been living at an address for a little under a year. Is that correct?
He provided me with the address he said that he's had for on and off for the last 10 years, 75.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought I heard a little under a year, and I know he just got
Oh
out of
no,
prison on May
a
29th.
job. He said he's been
Ah.
working his job for about 8 months, I believe.
Okay, I think I'd be a little confused by that because we're showing in the Georgia Department of Corrections, he was released from prison May 29th, 2025, after being in prison from June 2024 until May 29th of 2025. So I'm not sure how he would have been working anywhere for any amount of time since he's been in prison for over a year and was just released less than 30 days ago.
Okay. As such, it will be a $3,000 good bond, no further contact with Ms. Freeman, stay away from the Roswell Road address, an SDET, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Delmar. See, courtroom 2, I also have position 17, a Miss Shaw that you didn't address earlier, or I think it's a Miss Shaw, Rihanna Shaw.
No,
We're gonna,
she's at ACDC, but Milton told me that was MH reset. Or medical, sorry,
okay,
medical reset.
medical reset, okay, so we'll reset that until 6/17 tomorrow. Let's go ahead and do the, I don't believe we have anybody left in courtroom 2. As such, we'll do the waivers. Position number 4, Christopher Booker, charged in case 25 CR 003344J with loitering and prowling. Is there a history?
Their last arrest was April 5th, 2025 out of Fulton County for theft by receiving, theft by taking, and driving while license suspended or revoked. It's showing open under 24 PI 002652. There's 19 total arrest cycles in Georgia. 3 felony convictions outside the last 10-year period. There is an open case for burglary and possession of tools for the commission of a crime. That number is 24 PI 007085. And then another open burglary under 24 PI 004765. Nothing further to report.
Thank you, Ms. Falk.
Miss Hardy, do you mind checking on that burglary in the second degree that he's currently in custody for and see what bond he was given by felony first appearance?
Which number would that be?
That would be the, let's see, pull that up. I think it is the 25 PI 004765 case.
Okay.
He just went to, it looks like he was in custody on that one as well. So, Your Honor, just to kind of give you an overview of this case, this incident happened June 15th at 510 Cameron Alexander Boulevard. The officer spoke with Khalid Muhammad, who's a security guard at that location. The owner, Kevin Rodovich, had received information that someone was on the property at around 3 a.m. The video cameras showed the defendant getting out of a green UTV and entering the building. At 6 a.m., the defendant was seen back again on the property and detained. Mr. Rodovich, the owner, stated he doesn't know the defendant and the defendant does not have permission to be on the property. The defendant was also arrested on 25 PI 004765, which is a burglary in the second degree. That was a case the state is asking Ms. Hardy about. He currently has a no bond on that. And he also has a failure to appear under 24 PI 007085 with no bond that he also was arrested on as well. The burglary in the second degree, he actually was identified when he was arrested on our case. He was identified as the person who was burglarizing a different building, which is how he got arrested for burglary in the second degree and is sitting in jail on that now. The defendant also has that open case where he has an FTA, that open 24 PI 007085 case is a burglary in the first degree, possession of tools, theft, and possession of marijuana. He had an April 2025 probation violation, and he has a arrest from December 19th of 2024 for theft by shoplifting. So clearly there's a history here of burglary and theft. We are asking for a $5,000 surety bond, no further contact with Khalid Muhammad or Kevin Radovich. Stay away from 510 Cameron Alexander Boulevard.
Thank you. Mr. McLean? Courtroom 2 is on mute there.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. He is in POU, the psychiatric observation unit right now. Basically, we got from him that he went to high school, and we didn't get other information. He did clearly state that he wanted to waive his presence at today's hearing. So we asked the court to set an appropriate bond.
Okay, it will be a $5,000 good bond, no further contact with the alleged victim, stay away from the incident location, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. The next waiver, I believe, is position number 20, Timothy Thomas, charged in case 25 CR 003346F with criminal trespass. Is there a history? Ms. Hardy?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, what was that position?
Position 20 with Timothy Thomas.
Okay, their last arrest was February 10th, 2024 out of Hapeville for possession of marijuana with intent, possession of cocaine with intent, and driving while license suspended or revoked. That case number is 25 SC 001429. There's 27 total arrest cycles. Misdemeanor conviction in 2022 for battery, family violence, 2013 battery, cruelty to children, hindering emergency call. There's 2 open cases, 23 SC 190941, family violence battery, criminal damage to property, cruelty to children, and theft by taking. And then 23 CR 001206F, simple battery. Nothing further to report.
Harris?
Yes, Your Honor. On May 11th, 2025, Ms. Derica Cook stated that she was supposed to pick her boyfriend up from another location. When she called him, he didn't answer. So the next day, he called her and she didn't answer his calls. He showed up to her apartment located at 3252 Verdant Drive, Southwest, knocking on the back window and yelling at her to open the door because he wanted to get his stuff from her apartment. She told him no, she would drop his stuff off. He told her to open the door or he would kick it in. She stated no again, and he kicked the front door open and entered the unit. Once she informed him that she was going to call the police, he left the scene. Ms. Derica Cook, the victim, and the defendant have children together, but they do not live together. Ms. Cook did state to officers on the scene that they had domestic disputes in the past. We did speak to the victim. She confirmed that her and the defendant are in a relationship. They do not live together. She is currently pregnant with his child. She has other children that don't belong to the defendant. She confirmed the events in the warrant and stated that the door has been fixed. Her and the defendant have been in contact since this incident, and there's been no violence since this incident. She stated she's not in fear of the defendant and wants to continue contact. The state's recommendation, in light of the defendant's prior criminal history, is $1,000 surety bond. We're asking for no further violent contact, an anger awareness course, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, a stay away from the victim's residence as well, which is the 3252 Verdant Drive. It's apartment 908, and we'd like to sound for Ms. Cook at this time, and that'll be all for the state, Your Honor.
If Ms. Cook is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, 36-year-old Timothy Thomas, is a high school graduate. He's from Georgia all his life. We have his emergency contact here in Atlanta. He works 3 jobs at one time, doing landscaping, doing recycling, and he also runs a food service. He asked the court to set the bond as low as possible on his felony matters. He intends to make his bond. And I discussed with him how much this bond was already, and he asked me to ask the court to give him a signature bond if that's possible, because it is going to cost him quite a bit to make his felony. Thank you.
$1,000 good bond, no further violent contact with Ms. Cook, stay away from the incident location, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. I believe that completes the 2 o'clock calendar. Ms. Bridgewater,
Yes, Your Honor.
whenever you're ready for
I'm
us.
ready. Once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is July the 1st.
Excuse me, Ms. Bridgewater, Judge, do we still need JCS? Because
We
they're-
do. Let me do that at the end of the calendar
Okay.
so I can let
Alright.
people go
Okay.
before we discuss it. Thank you though, Ms. Grace.
No problem.
I appreciate it. Yes, Ms.
Okay.
Bridgewater.
Position number 1 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 2 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 3, reset further notice with a total $10,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 4 is going to the SAP calendar with a $5,000 good bond. Position 5, reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 6 is going to the SAP calendar with a $3,000 good bond. Position 7, SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. Position 8, reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 9 is reset till tomorrow. Position 10, SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. 11, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. Number 12, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 13, reset further notice with a total $1,500 SOB through the jail. 14, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 15 is reset further notice. The defendant has been released. 16 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. 17 is reset till tomorrow. 18, reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 19 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $1,000 good bond. Position 20 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. 21, SAP calendar with a total $2,500 good bond. 22 is going to first appearance felony. It's been transferred to the DA. And 23 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $3,000 good bond. And 24 is reset further notice with the $1,000 SOB through the jail. Are there any corrections, comments, or otherwise?
You all, there's nothing further. Let me see. I do need to speak with Ms. Falk and probation regarding this matter. Who do we have on from probation?
This is Officer Foreman.
Yes, good afternoon. Would you explain the situation, Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. So Officer Fleming, I had a misdemeanor mental health court reach out to me to review a defendant. The defendant's name is Stephanie Kennedy. Her booking number is 2510701. I took a moment to pull up the warrant. It's a 2017 conviction where the probation revocation warrant was taken out April 15th of 2019. It's for failure to pay restitution and failure to appear for a revocation hearing back on April of 2019. However, the tolling affidavit, which has to be filled out, signed by the probation supervisor and signed by the judge to prevent the probation from running, was not actually signed. And so, unfortunately, the probation has run during the time where the warrant has been outstanding and would have technically run out back in October of 2019. So, based on that, I don't see how probation could proceed on these charges. And because the defendant is currently in custody, I reached out to Judge Morrow just to alert him of kind of what I observed. And in good faith as an officer of the court, I just let him know I don't think we can go forward on this. So where we're at right now is that I can't do a null pros because it's not an open case. The only thing that can happen is probation would have to withdraw the probation.
So it would just be a warrant dismissal. Can you confirm that the date of birth is 2/26/64?
Let me see. Kennedy, is Stephanie Kennedy.
Because from what I can see here, they were supposed to pay restitution, so they would have to do a warrant dismissal, considering that was the only condition on this case, if that's the correct person that we're talking
Right, I understand. The date of birth I have is 2/26/64.
Yeah, so we just need to get a warrant dismissal done, stating that, they're dismissing everything and that they're willing to close the case administratively. That's fine.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No problem.
And will probation do that for us? And do I need to sign anything?
Yes, I'll go ahead and do it and send it over.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And I'll send you a copy of that also, Ms. Falk. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so if there's nothing further, you'll have a good rest of your evening. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, have a good day.
Have a good day.